always, if it's code enforcement issue, I mean, if they're not supposed to be there,
All right,
then it's code enforcement.
right now, we'll have everybody doing it, so we have someone assigned to doing that, so it's kept clear. What I'm saying?
There is, on our website, there's a link to code enforcement, and if you see something, we ask if you see something, let them know. You can go to our
I
website.
realize it, but I shouldn't have to, because all you have to do is ride down the street and see them every day, that there's signs all over the place. So I shouldn't, I mean, pretty obvious they're there if you take a ride, so
We'll remind people that
Right.
they're not,
we have someone that could do that, we appreciate it.
yes, we will make note of that and remind people that they're not supposed to be placing their signage there.
All right, I appreciate that.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Thomas Frank. Thank you for my 3 minutes, and I'd like to comment on the Ellicott Creek is the village of Williamsville and the town of Amherst Central Park Greenway project, which is a part of the village plan that previously the original plan from 10 years ago had included the interconnection of the Glen Park Joint Board to the Amherst State Park, and that the interconnection of these parks with the watershed have just not been there. That as far as the walkable village plan, this is like part 2. Okay, a project that will go from 2025 through 2029. And it'll be, it has to be a part of that plan because the historical context of the village of Williamsville, the cultural heritage, the village is a municipal corporation of the state of New York with offices at 5565 Main Street in the village of Williamsville and in the town of Amherst in Erie County. That this is the Glen Park Joint Board being the lead agency between the village and the town. That the original plan went back to 2077 and it was updated in 2080. That there's an opportunity here as far as and this is what they're doing in Albany. This is a part of a statewide program that Governor Kathy Hochul has sent me 2 letters on as far as advocating the connection of Ellicott Creek at the dam down as far as its connection to the Niagara River Greenway, the relicensing settlement. Okay, as far as the allocation of $450 million that extend, it's like $9 million a year through 2050, that these projects are interconnected. As far as, and I attended the Traffic and Safety Committee meeting and Historic Preservation Board, that that the second thing having to do with the village heritage, really, I mean, all you got to do is look at the logo for the village, incorporated in 1850. The reason why it was incorporated was to connect Ellicott Creek to the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor, and that this village played a strategic role in Erie Canal, and the bicentennial is next year. And where this is where the quarries, the mines, this is where the concrete was made to make the canal that comes into Tonawanda Creek.
Thank you, Tom.
And where it does, that's one of the most geographically historic places in the country.
Yes.
That most people don't even know about, as far as the parks, recreation, and historic preservation.
Right. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
You're
3
welcome.
minutes. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll get together and
We're working on connecting everything.
yes, this is going to go from 2025 through 29.
Right.
But as far as the management And the maintenance of the watershed greenway goes through 2050.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
I have that information. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Alex Braza. I live at 160 Eagle Street.
Use the microphone, please.
I'm not speaking into it enough. There we go. I've been at home with an infant for 3 months, so I just talked to a baby most days. She doesn't care. I live at the corner house between on Eagle Street with Academy running to my left. Our little stretch of Eagle Street gets so much traffic, and I think that there are two main reasons why people want to jump the traffic on Main Street. So they cut through to get to Evans and vice versa. And then the other is Christian Central Academy does a lot of traffic during peak hours, during drop off, pickup, and then sporting events at the school. The majority of the drivers that come through our intersection fly through, like have absolutely zero disregard for that stop sign there. And we have so many little ones, not to mention all of the kids that go to Christian Central Academy. I really would like to see something done. I think that it was a great effort to add some additional visibility to that intersection by relining the stop lines at the crosswalks. But it's not enough. Like, I sit on the porch every day with my baby, and I just watch cars go through it every single day. I think that this is really just a tragic accident waiting to happen. There are so many kids that use that route to walk to Williamsville South as well. So I really would like to see a physical implementation that would deter reckless driving, like a speed bump. I see speed bumps in other areas of the village, like your parking lot out back, and then Glen Park Ave. So I think that something physical needs to be done, because there's nothing as far as like a sign that would deter a driver from driving slowly there. Also, the school zone doesn't extend to Academy Street, it's only on School Street. So I really think that the school zone should be extended onto Academy Street so that drivers that are pulled over and taken there can have their fines be tripled, and hopefully that will deter reckless decisions in the future. So that is all. So
Thank you.
for your
Thank
consideration.
you for your email.
Yes.
We did
you're welcome.
receive that. We did discuss this at work session.
Yes, I heard from Jim this afternoon, so
Yeah,
you're
and
welcome to my front porch whenever this week. I'll be home on maternity leave. Okay.
so yes, we will be looking into traffic calming measures and the speed limit on Academy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Trisha Brown, and my family owns Eagle House Restaurant. From the Little White House to the Eagle House and Fountain Jennings Ice Cream, my family's operated businesses in the village of Williamsville for over 60 years. And that spans 5 generations of living, working, giving back to this community. The Eagle House is also a founding member of the Business Association, and it's always been our goal, personally, as a family, and professionally as business owners, to lift up Main Street and the village of Williamsville. I'm talking for myself, but I know I have some shared feelings here with some other business owners on Main Street. Several years back, the village board and the mayor at the time were embracing a new concept that was called, or creating a walkable Williamsville. The Business Association, business leaders were given the opportunity to work on this with the village, and an event series that grew out of that concept was Music on Main. And every summer, June to August, different venues host the musicians just like we do now, and it gave visitors and patrons the opportunity to enjoy the village on a walking basis, not driving and flying through it, but enjoying it on a walking basis. So in the 15 years since its inception, Music on Main has grown into one of the best attended summer events, not just in Amherst, but in Western New York as a whole. The economic impact has been fruitful and incredible, not just for the restaurants and our staffs and the musicians, but the surrounding businesses. And also, I've heard so many people say that they've moved to the village or how much they love coming into the village because of all the wonderful events, not just Music on Main, but that's a big attraction. On Monday, August 12th, you had a meeting, and I was not here, but I watched it. And I think a lot of us were surprised that it sounded like there are a lot of topics up for discussion regarding music on Main. If there were issues and concerns that the village board had regarding music on Main, not once to my knowledge was I ever told of anything if I was creating a scenario. But I don't know that any of the other venues had anything brought to their attention either. Because it's something that we would have worked on correcting, curtailing, or changing immediately. Because that event means so much, not just again to the restaurants and our patrons and our staff, but to the surrounding residents and the shops and people that also benefit from it. So one of those topics was permitting and the fees associated with that and that season of Music on Main. We have talked as a group of restaurant owners and feel like we've come up with a resolution and a proposal that I'm going to give you copies of tonight for you guys to read and take into consideration. And then we have scheduled a meeting with Mayor Hunt October 7th, and I was hoping that we would be able to discuss that after you have had the chance to review it with the board. Asking.
Yes, thank you, Tricia. Thank you. Hi.
I'm Jessica Stearns. I live on Academy Street. I won't repeat everything Alex said. We're neighbors with each other, but I grew up in the village and it's advertised as a walkable village, and I love the freedom of it. And I want my children to experience it, but just everywhere it doesn't feel very safe. Oftentimes we're walking down Main, we'll just walk down street parallel instead. But particularly I'm nervous about, like I said, the Eagle and Evans, that whole school area. So where CCA is, we have tons of people from out of the area coming in. They drive crazy, and it's not marked in the school zone except on School Street. So Academy is really the street they use. Kids walk to the playground there, and it's not safe for the kids to be crossing on Evans as well. So Evans, I like how we mark on one side, and we're waiting for the county to come in. Do we know when they're coming to mark the rest of
We're doing it tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So I was also wondering, would it be possible if we could get those buttons that you press and flash, like we have at Garrison Park, to show that pedestrians are crossing? I see so many high schoolers walking up Evans and getting to Williamsville South, and I see this one bike all the time, almost get run over. He's like 14, he's there with his helmet, but we could get flashers there. Really awesome. Yeah, and in a lot of walkable communities, when they mark the streets, they do those triangles leading up to the stop signs, because it makes it scientifically proven or research proven to make drivers slow down. Lead them up,
Yeah, the visual cue.
Yeah, and that would be really.
Thank you very much. We are looking into traffic calming measures there.
Okay.
At both locations.
Evening, members of the board. My name's Philip Meyer, and I'm here to speak on the same issue that was just raised, a traffic issue. I live at 165 Eagle Street. I have two small children, both 5 and 7, attending Forest. And similar to the issues that were raised by the two ladies who spoke before me, Alex and Jessica, there's something about that intersection of Eagle and Academy that just draws an exceptional amount of traffic. I think one, it is, of course, the school, parents coming and going with their children. There's also the Caldwell building with many businesses in there, certainly not anti-business, not expecting anyone to move the businesses. I like having them there. But it certainly draws a lot of traffic. And lastly, and I think this is exceptionally important, there's a ton of people who try to beat the red light by cutting down Academy and over Eagle. And when they do it, and I've seen it on multiple occasions, they drive over my front lawn to cut that corner. And I'm just really tired of yelling at people. There's like a whole jungle gym in my front yard for kids to play on.
Right.
It's kind of like the hangout spot for all these little kids. And you got kids walking across from the school. You got South kids coming down. And then you also just have people in the neighborhood walking around enjoying their streets. So, walkable Williamsville is more than just the main street. It's also the village streets that we live on. And I don't expect anyone to change the behaviors of drivers, but I think there are certain common sense impediments that we can put out to just, impede certain bad driving behaviors, like cutting through the street to try to beat a red light. And I think if you had, and I'm no traffic guru, but if you had 2 speed bumps on on Academy and one on Eagle, all of a sudden, you're thinking, well, maybe I'm not gonna beat that red light, so I'm not gonna go speeding down there. So, you know, I don't think the village is responsible for every driver, but I do think there's some things that we can do to try to make it a safer little corner of Williamsville. So my specific request would be for speed bumps on those two roads and any other kind of physical impediment or alert system that, you know, someone better with traffic. So I thank you for your time and I appreciate it. Have a nice night.
I thank you as well.
Terry, 23 Runwell.
Speak up, please.
Well, this is a problem. Am I better off to just talk like this, really loud?
Talk to the board, please.
Talk to the
What?
board.
Just
Address the
No, I know
board.
that, I know that, but they need to hear too. So I saw trustee Tori out socially the other night, and I promised her I wasn't gonna talk about parking on Rhinewell, but this is all kind of tied in together. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, the night of the village moonlight run, was it on a Wednesday? I think it was on a Wednesday or Thursday. It was a beautiful social experiment. I wish the police were here so they could hear me. So the police closed off the westbound lane on Main Street. They put pylons, okay? And there were police at all the intersections. And the cars, there was only a single lane coming down Main Street, okay? Going eastbound, it was normal traffic, okay? And I had this conversation with 2 or 3 of the policemen that were at the intersections. The cars that were in the single lane were orderly. It was quieter. Nobody was honking. Nobody was yelling. Nobody was cutting in and out of traffic. The pace was slower, obviously. The other side, it was business as usual. Cars honking, people changing lanes, speeding. So I think what I'm proposing tonight is beyond traffic and safety, whether the village really needs to, because all these other people brought up these concerns about traffic. I mean, I know exactly where he lives, because they live around tourism. Oh, he left. Okay, I know exactly what he's talking about. He's got kids playing on the front lawn. Just figure out what's going on, whether we really have a village or not. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, when my buddies and I used to go and pick up women or on Elmwood, you just prayed. Well, that's what we did back then. You just prayed that you didn't meet a girl that had an apartment in Kenmore or Tonawanda, because you had to drive to the village of village of Kenmore. And Police Chief Elmer, does anybody remember him? You didn't drive through Kenmore at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is what you did back then, looking for trouble because you were going to get caught. And I don't think there's that sense, that fear of God or that sense of village life. Main Street is just through it. And I know what you're going to tell me is Route 5 or whatever, but
So
there's
that's what I
other
was gonna
villages
say
around.
at all, Joe.
Well, I've
I
heard
was
it
gonna
before.
say-
Mayor Rogers said it. You can take Lewiston, you can take Ellicottville, which 219, as far as I know, is a state road. Okay, 1 lane, 30 miles an hour, whatever. I don't know what's going on with the toll booth. That obviously, went away, the concern. But I really don't see anything changing. And then they bring up the music on Main. Yeah, it's an accident waiting to happen. It's a lot of commotion on Main Street, and the cars are still flying down Main Street, weaving in and out of traffic, speeding. It goes on all day long. And then, yeah,
Thank you.
it happens on the side streets. Cars are cutting through. So, let me just make sure I didn't forget something else here that I wanted to mention.
Was that an accurate one? So thank you, Joe.
Oh,
3
one more
minutes.
thing. Mayor Rogers, I brought this up when you first became the mayor. She passed some kind of thing to allow bicycles on sidewalks, which is just really crazy because that's not solving the problem. If we switch to 1 lane each way in the village and we have center turning lane, we could have wider shoulders, probably allow for more parking, and we'd have
That's-
room for people to ride their
Thank you.
bicycles.
Yes, and that's a
Instead, it's,
very lengthy discussion we'll have to have with,
yeah, I've
New
nearly
York
gotten hit
State.
a few times, and,
thank you.
and of course, the electric bikes are in there too.
I know,
So,
those, watch out for those. Faster than,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Starting the timer.
My name is Jim Now. I reside at 121 Los Robles Street. I am owner of a business in Williamsville, as well as My wife and I own 2 houses, so I want to speak on both sides really quick. I have a ton invested in this village, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars across property and businesses.